Well, one of the things that we noticed almost immediately, at our son's previous school, he really was not socializing with people. It was a tough situation where, he would just he was alone most of the time, and he just was not. He just wasn't syncing up with any of his classmates. He goes to Odyssey, and within the first couple of days, he is making friends.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to do. Well, I mean, it's the way the kids treat one another, which is a very supportive kind of environment. But it's also the mentors. I mean, I think the mentors are really facilitating that. There's
a huge intentionality around forming relationships.
Yes.
That is just lacking in other.
Right.
So in the way that it's very clear that the older students they have a responsibility to dive in deep with the younger students, foster relationships with them, and make them, because I mean, you think about it, you're 6th, 7th grade, you've got these juniors and seniors.
Sam was 6th grade when he came into Odyssey, and he started talking about the older students almost immediately.
Right.
And
loving on them.
Yeah, totally.
It's
real.
They have inside jokes coming back from Colorado, and
so what kind of I'm curious, what kind of impact did that have, on him in terms of where he was at with you guys, where he was at in general with himself?
Wow.
I think coming into a school that places such a priority on relationships and on the mentor support has been huge for him. Like George said, he didn't have those deep relationships in his last school. He did when he was younger, there was a much more supportive environment. But as he grew older, that was noticeably lacking.
It dissipated just
at a time,
year after year.
Yeah, at a time when, when they're in middle school, those are such formative years. And such difficult years socially and emotionally, that for them to pull back and expect them to be so much more independent almost suddenly when they're in middle school just did not work for him.
To your point, too, that's where that mentoring piece is so huge, because they actually have an older, wiser, more experienced, way more experienced than them anyway.
Right.
Adult that can actually help them navigate in a safe environment, play with some of those things that feel scary and are hard to deal with.
And to start off their day immediately with a small group of other students.
Where they can be vulnerable with each other, be totally exposed, and then still have friends. And it's safe, and it's okay.
But
I can be who I am.
A total safe space.
Yes.
Not only is it a safe place, but they actually have created a culture where they feel safe.
It's a community of trust, a real
my
relationships
kids
of trust.
will spill the beans, and I love that. That could be terrifying in some places, but I feel like, I don't want to mention mentor names, but the ones that we've had, my oldest daughter, Lindley, who's going to be a senior, has had 2 amazing mentors. That is a very safe place and know things about my kid that I probably don't even know.
Yeah.
And if there was something I needed to know, they would bring it to me. And so I can totally rest in that. And then watching Chrisman, the way that he, from coming from public school, starting out at middle school, that was his first year. And he's more of an extrovert. And he has, the first thing he did for celebrations was spoken word. And I was like, this is gonna be
we were like, are you sure?
Yeah, just because that's not
sometimes you don't
his
speak
personality.
a little bit.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, we were all just like a hair blew back.
Speechless.
Yeah.
He was.
I didn't know you had that in you.
Yeah, he was like an artisan. He cared about it. He was passionate.
When I'm talking to my friends at work, or adults that don't have children at Odyssey, and I'm explaining to them, a mentor's basically like a teacher, except our mentors, I have their cell phone numbers, and if I have some parenting fails, I can text them and say, I may need some overcorrection here. Do you mind just pulling one of mine aside and just saying, hey, this or that? But yesterday I took my oldest over to a friend's house for a sleepover. I pull in. There's 3 or 4 cars there, and 2 mentors are there on a Saturday. And there's some girls that are downstairs doing some crafts and everything, and the boys are upstairs and they're just goofing off and whatever. And it's like, find me one public school in America where a teacher is going to come over to somebody's house and spend time with their students that they see Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know they were going to be there. So I was like, well, hello, hi, how are you guys? And I left there just thinking, I mean, this is unheard of.
Yeah.
This does not happen. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And the kids feel so loved. And like these mentors having full license to speak into our children and talk about the things that they're struggling with, that's not happening in a public school format. And like, I feel so blessed when I hear some of the tough conversations that our boys are having, and good tough conversations that have depth, and just they come back, and it's just really encouraging. So I think that's one of the main things that really drives us with Odyssey is just that it is. And I remember Dr. Martin saying when we first met with him, he was like, this isn't about the student. It's about the student, but it's about the family. So like we're wanting families, and it just, I'm constantly reminded of that, of how Brooke and I both play such a part in the Odyssey experience,
Yeah.
like we all do.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. Didn't feel that way at public school.
I think the thing too is like I'm sitting here thinking, it takes a village. You hear that? It really, like now that I have a kid that's about to leave, I have felt the past 5 years the inadequacy that we have as parents to raise these kids as fully functioning, young adults by ourselves. It's impossible. We have had lots of grace in lots of many ways, but like the biggest one that I've seen, and like watching as they go through these weird preteen angsty, just all
Awkward.
the different things that they go through. And like my kids so far have been met where they're at, and they're not scolded for it, they're not shamed for it, and they're not told to be something different. They might
Absolutely.
redirect it.
Oh, well put.
They might redirect it, and they might point out some obvious truths and some obvious lies that maybe they're struggling with, but never once have my kids come home like hanging their head like they did for many years.
Thinking they should be something.
Thinking
Right.
that
Or
they're
that
not
they'll never
good
be what
enough,
they're
they're not
supposed to be.
right, never reaching this like benchmark that's impossible.
That's a great point. I think that really is like the essence
Yeah.
of the
Yep.
environment that
Yeah.
Odyssey is creating. And couple that with what you said earlier about connecting with their learning to a purpose, a
Yes.
reason for learning, and something that they're interested in.
Yeah.